You are standing in a room full of people, but you feel invisible. The conversation flows around you like water around a stone, and you wonder if anyone would notice if you simply disappeared. This is not loneliness as you have been taught to understand it. You do not feel lonely when you are alone. You only feel lonely when you are next to other people. And today, you will understand why. Think about the last time you sat at a party, surrounded by laughter and chatter, yet felt completely disconnected from everything happening around you. Remember that family dinner where you counted the minutes until you could leave, where every smile felt like effort and every word felt like performance. Picture yourself nodding along to a conversation, your eyes tracking the speaker's lips, but your mind somewhere else entirely. Watching yourself from the outside and wondering why you cannot simply be present. These moments are not rare. They are not accidents. They are signals. The forced smile that never reaches your eyes, the vacant stare that drifts past people's faces, the overwhelming sensation that no one truly sees you, that you are performing a role rather than living your life. You laugh when others laugh, you respond when others speak, but there is a glass wall between you and the world, invisible to everyone but you. You are there, but you are not there. You exist in the space, but not in the moment. Society has sold you a simple equation. More interaction equals less loneliness. Connect more, they say. Go out more. Be social. Engage. But we are living in the most connected era in human history, and we are also living in the loneliest. Something in this equation does not add up. The prescription is not working, yet we keep taking the medicine, wondering why we still feel sick. There is a name for what you are experiencing, though most people have never heard it. Social dissonance. It is the gap between who you are expected to be in social situations and who you actually are beneath the performance. It is the distance between your social mask and your authentic self. You talk, but you do not feel connected. You listen, but you do not feel understood. You are present in body, but your mind has wandered to a place where it can finally breathe. Social dissonance is not just discomfort. It is a specific kind of psychological fracture that happens when you are constantly translating yourself for others, editing your thoughts before they become words, calculating how your authentic reactions might be received, and adjusting accordingly. Every interaction becomes a performance. Every conversation becomes a chess game where you are 3 moves ahead, anticipating responses, managing perceptions, maintaining the character you believe others expect you to be. How do you know if you are experiencing this? The signs are subtle but unmistakable once you recognize them. You laugh along with everyone else, but there is no genuine joy behind it, just the mechanical movement of going through the motions. You participate in conversations, but hours later you cannot remember what you said or why you said it, as if someone else was speaking through you. You desperately want every social interaction to end, not because you dislike the people, but because maintaining the performance exhausts you. After spending time with friends or at gatherings, you feel completely drained, as if you have run a marathon, even though you were just sitting and talking. You feel like you do not belong, even when everyone seems to accept you. Even when you fit in perfectly on the surface, something fundamental feels wrong. You are wearing the right clothes, saying the right things, laughing at the right moments, but inside you feel like an actor who has forgotten they are in a play. This is not shyness. This is not social anxiety. This is something deeper. It is the exhaustion of being someone you are not. Your brain is not designed to run 2 operating systems simultaneously. Yet that is exactly what social dissonance forces you to do. You are running your authentic self in the background while displaying a different version of yourself to the world. This requires enormous cognitive energy. You must monitor your facial expressions, modulate your tone, filter your thoughts, and predict how others will respond to everything you say and do. You are not connecting with people. You are managing them. Think about how your brain operates during these interactions. You are simultaneously experiencing your genuine thoughts and feelings while also observing yourself from the outside, judging whether your reactions are appropriate, whether your enthusiasm seems genuine enough, whether you are being too quiet or too loud. You are analyzing the other person's body language, trying to determine if they are actually enjoying the conversation or just being polite. You are planning your exit strategy while appearing engaged. This is not social interaction. This is energy depletion disguised as connection. The brain's prefrontal cortex, responsible for executive function and self-regulation, works overtime during these interactions. Studies show that self-monitoring and impression management consume significant mental resources. When you are being authentic, your brain can relax into genuine interaction. When you are performing, your brain must allocate energy to maintain the performance, monitor its effectiveness, and suppress your authentic responses. No wonder you feel exhausted. You are not socializing. You are conducting a complex psychological operation. Here is the paradox that no one talks about. You are not lonely because you lack people in your life. You are lonely because you lack resonance. You can be surrounded by 100 people and still feel completely alone because none of those 100 people are connecting with who you actually are. They are connecting with your performance, your mask, your social self. The real you remains hidden, unseen, unknown. And that version of you, the authentic one, is desperately lonely even in a crowded room. Presence without understanding is not connection. Conversation without authenticity is not intimacy. You can exchange words with someone for hours and never truly communicate. You can be physically close to people and emotionally miles away. The loneliness you feel in a crowd is actually more painful than the loneliness of solitude, because it comes with the cruel irony of proximity. You are supposed to feel connected. Society tells you that being around people should solve loneliness, but it does not, and that failure makes you feel broken. So why do you keep trying? Why do you keep forcing yourself into social situations that drain you, keep maintaining relationships that feel hollow, keep performing for people who do not really know you? Fear. Fear of judgment, fear of rejection, fear of being labeled as antisocial, difficult, or strange. Society has created a powerful narrative that equates solitude with failure and social engagement with success. To withdraw is to admit defeat. To need less social interaction than others is to be somehow deficient. There is also the fundamental human need for belonging. You want to be part of something. You want to be seen and valued. So you keep showing up, keep trying, keep hoping that maybe this time will be different. Maybe this time you will feel what everyone else seems to feel. Maybe this time the connection will be real. But it is not, because you are not showing up as yourself. You are showing up as the version of yourself you think others want to see. And that version cannot form genuine connections because it is not genuine. The trap tightens with every interaction. The more you perform, the more comfortable the performance becomes. The more you hide your authentic self, the harder it becomes to reveal it. You become skilled at being someone you are not. People begin to know and like this false version of you, and now you are trapped, because revealing your authentic self would mean admitting that everything before was a lie. The longer you maintain the mask, the higher the cost of removing it becomes. But what if withdrawal is not weakness? What if stepping back from social situations that require you to be inauthentic is not avoidance, but self-preservation? What if the exhaustion you feel after social interactions is not a character flaw, but a clear signal from your nervous system that something is wrong? Your body is trying to tell you something. The fatigue, the desire to leave, the sense of disconnection. These are not problems to be fixed. They are information to be heeded. Intentional withdrawal is not the same as isolation. It is not about cutting yourself off from all human connection. It is about being selective with your energy, choosing environments where you can be authentic rather than performative. It is about recognizing that not all social interaction is valuable and not all connection is genuine. Some spaces allow you to breathe, others require you to hold your breath. You are allowed to prefer the spaces where you can breathe. Consider the permission you have been denying yourself. The permission to leave gatherings early when you feel drained. The permission to decline invitations to events where you know you will have to perform. The permission to prioritize depth over breadth in your relationships. The permission to seek out people who make you feel more like yourself rather than less. This is not antisocial behavior. This is self-awareness translated into action. Picture a man sitting in the corner of a bustling party. Music pulses through the room. People cluster in animated groups, their laughter rising and falling like waves. He sits among them, nodding occasionally, offering a polite smile when someone makes eye contact, contributing the expected phrase when conversation briefly includes him. To anyone watching, he appears to be participating, but his eyes keep drifting toward the door. Not with obvious desperation, just a subtle, repeated glance, like a prisoner checking the position of the sun. When he finally stands and makes his exit, citing an early morning or a headache, something in his posture changes the moment he steps outside. His shoulders drop. His pace slows. He breathes deeply, as if he has been holding his breath for hours, and in a way he has. Later, when a friend asks why he left early, he struggles to explain. How do you tell someone that you felt more alone in a room full of people than you do now, walking home by yourself through empty streets? How do you make them understand that solitude feels like relief rather than punishment? He says what he always says. He was tired, he had things to do, he is not feeling well. All technically true, but missing the deeper truth. He was tired of performing. He had to do the work of being himself again. He was not feeling well because he was disappearing inside his own life. The walk home alone, the one that is supposed to represent loneliness, feels like coming back to himself. The party, the place meant to cure loneliness, was where he felt most lost. This story is not unique. It repeats itself in countless variations across countless lives. The common narrative says that loneliness is the absence of others, but that is incomplete. Loneliness is the absence of authentic connection, and authentic connection requires authentic presence. When you cannot be authentic because the environment does not allow it, when you must perform to be accepted, when your real thoughts and feelings must be hidden to maintain social harmony, you are alone, profoundly alone. And the presence of others makes that aloneness more painful, not less. Let us redefine what we are talking about. Loneliness in a crowd is not about lacking social interaction, it is about lacking authentic self-expression within social interaction. It is not that you need more people in your life, it is that you need to be more yourself with the people who are already there. Or you need different people entirely. People who create space for your authentic self rather than requiring you to hide it. The focus has been wrong. Society tells you to fix loneliness by adding more social contact, more friends, more activities, more engagement. But volume is not the answer when the problem is quality. Adding more inauthentic interactions will not make you feel less lonely. It will make you feel more exhausted. What you need is not more connections but truer ones. Not more people but the right people. Not more words but more genuine communication. This shift in understanding changes everything. If loneliness in a crowd comes from inauthenticity, then the solution is not forcing yourself into more social situations. The solution is finding or creating situations where authenticity is possible. This might mean fewer friends, but deeper friendships. It might mean smaller gatherings instead of large parties. It might mean one-on-one conversations instead of group dynamics. It might mean hobbies and communities built around genuine interests rather than social obligation. Here is the philosophical core that everything else builds upon. Humans do not fear loneliness. They fear being unseen. They fear that their inner world, with all its complexity and contradiction and depth, will never be witnessed or understood by another person. They fear living an entire life while remaining fundamentally unknown. The pain of loneliness is not the absence of people nearby. It is the absence of true recognition. When you are performing in social situations, you are guaranteeing that you will not be seen. You are hiding yourself while desperately wanting to be found. This is the cruelest form of loneliness because you are doing it to yourself. You are choosing invisibility in the name of acceptability. You are trading being known for being liked by people who do not actually know you. And somewhere deep inside, you are aware of this trade, and it exhausts you. Not everyone deserves access to your authentic self. This is not cynicism. This is wisdom. Your energy, your emotional truth, your inner world, these are valuable resources that should be shared intentionally. Some people will not appreciate them. Some will misunderstand them. Some will weaponize them. The right people, the ones worth your authenticity, will recognize it, respect it, and reciprocate it. Those are the people who cure loneliness. Everyone else is just noise. Finding the right space is as important as finding the right people. Some environments are inherently inauthentic. They require performance by their very nature. Corporate networking events, certain family gatherings, social obligations. These spaces often do not allow for genuine connection because they are structured around maintaining appearances. Recognizing this is liberating. You can stop blaming yourself for feeling disconnected in spaces that are designed to prevent genuine connection. The right space feels different. You know you are in it when you stop monitoring yourself. When you speak without pre-editing every sentence. When you can be quiet without feeling awkward. When disagreement does not threaten the relationship. When you leave feeling energized rather than depleted. These spaces and the people who create them are rare. When you find them, protect them. Prioritize them. Build your life around them. Now comes the practical transformation, the part that moves this from concept to action. First, give yourself permission to leave situations where you feel yourself disappearing. This is not rudeness, this is self-preservation. You are allowed to say no to invitations. You are allowed to leave early. You are allowed to prioritize your mental health over social expectations. The guilt you feel about this is learned behavior, and it can be unlearned. Second, prioritize depth over breadth in relationships. Culture celebrates having many friends, a large social circle, an active social calendar. But what matters is not how many people you know, but how deeply you know them and how deeply they know you. One friendship where you can be completely authentic is worth more than 50 where you must perform. Stop trying to maintain relationships that require you to be someone you are not. Let them fade. Use that energy for relationships that feed you. Third, practice speaking your truth in one safe relationship. Choose someone who has demonstrated trustworthiness and care. Begin sharing things you usually edit out. Your actual opinions, your uncertainties, your fears. Start small. Notice what happens. Most of the time, authentic disclosure strengthens relationships rather than weakening them. The people who cannot handle your authenticity were never going to provide genuine connection anyway. Better to know that now. Fourth, listen to your body. Physical exhaustion after social interaction is data. Tension in your shoulders during conversations is data. The relief you feel when an event is cancelled is data. Your nervous system is giving you constant feedback about which environments and people are safe for your authentic self. Stop overriding this feedback with should statements. Stop forcing yourself to enjoy things your body is telling you are harmful. Your exhaustion is not a character flaw. It is information. Fifth, create a space where you do not have to perform. This might be a physical space, a room in your home that is completely yours. Or it might be a temporal space, specific times blocked off where you do not have to be anything for anyone. Or it might be a creative space, a journal or art practice or hobby where you can express yourself without audience or judgment. Everyone needs somewhere they can take off the mask. Build that somewhere intentionally. These are not suggestions to become antisocial or isolated. They are invitations to become more selective, more intentional, more protective of your authentic self. They are recognition that your energy is finite and valuable and deserves to be invested wisely. They are acknowledgement that genuine connection is built on authenticity, and authenticity requires safety. The loneliness you feel in a crowd is your inner self sending you a message. It is saying, you are not being seen here. You are not safe to be yourself here. This environment requires performance, and performance is exhausting you. This is not sustainable. The message is not punishment. It is guidance. Your loneliness in social situations is trying to guide you toward situations where you can be authentic. Most people ignore this message. They interpret the loneliness as evidence that something is wrong with them rather than evidence that something is wrong with the situation. They try harder to fit in, to be social, to connect with people who do not see them. They exhaust themselves trying to fix a problem that cannot be fixed through effort. The solution is not trying harder in the wrong places. The solution is finding the right places. When you honor the message your loneliness is sending, when you start making choices based on authentic connection rather than social obligation, something shifts. You might have fewer friends, but the ones you have will know you. You might attend fewer events, but the ones you attend will energize rather than drain you. You might spend more time alone, but that time will feel restorative rather than isolating. This is not loneliness. This is coming home to yourself. The cultural narrative around loneliness needs to change. We need to stop treating all loneliness as the same problem with the same solution. Loneliness in solitude and loneliness in a crowd are fundamentally different experiences requiring different responses. The first might be addressed through building more social connections. The second can only be addressed through building more authentic connections or removing inauthentic ones. Adding more noise will not cure the loneliness of not being heard. We also need to stop pathologizing the need for solitude. Introverts have been saying this for years, but it applies beyond introversion. Many people, regardless of where they fall on the introversion-extroversion spectrum, need time away from social performance to reconnect with themselves. This is not dysfunction. This is maintenance. Just as you need sleep to restore your body, you need solitude to restore your sense of self. The most radical act in a culture obsessed with constant connection might be choosing disconnection. Not permanent isolation, but intentional withdrawal from spaces and relationships that require you to abandon yourself. This is not giving up on connection. This is insisting on genuine connection. This is refusing to settle for proximity when what you need is presence. This is valuing quality over quantity. This is choosing to be known by few rather than performing for many. Consider what your life might look like if you made decisions based on authentic connection rather than social expectation. You might skip the party and have coffee with one friend instead. You might leave the family gathering early without guilt. You might stop maintaining friendships that feel like obligations. You might seek out communities built around genuine interests rather than geographic proximity or historical accident. You might spend Friday night alone and feel more connected to yourself than you did all week. This is not a prescription for everyone. Some people genuinely thrive in large social settings. Some people can be authentic in almost any environment. Some people have found communities where performance is not required. If that is you, celebrate it. Protect it. But if you are someone who feels invisible in crowds, exhausted after social events, and more yourself when alone, know that you are not broken. You are receiving important information about what kinds of connection actually work for you. The journey from performing to authenticity is not always smooth. There will be people who prefer your mask to your face. There will be relationships that cannot survive your honesty. There will be moments when you question whether being authentic is worth the cost of being misunderstood. These moments are difficult, but they are also clarifying. They reveal who is actually in your life and who was only ever connected to your performance. What remains after this clarification is smaller but stronger. The people who stay are the ones who see you and choose you anyway. The relationships that survive are the ones built on truth rather than presentation. The social interactions that continue are the ones that energize rather than deplete. This is what you were looking for all along when you were performing in crowds and feeling lonely. You were looking for someone who would see the real you. Now you are creating conditions where that is possible. There is profound peace in being known, not by everyone, not by most people, but by someone, by a few people who matter, who see your complexity and do not need you to simplify it, who hear your truth and do not need you to soften it, who witness your authentic self and do not need you to perform a more palatable version. This is connection. Everything else is just social choreography. Your loneliness in crowds is not telling you that you need more friends, or more social skills, or more effort. It is telling you that you need truer connection, safer spaces, and permission to be yourself. It is telling you to stop abandoning yourself in the name of fitting in. It is telling you that the exhaustion you feel is real and valid and should be honored, not overridden. It is telling you that you deserve to be seen, not applauded, known, not liked, present, not performing. So if you have ever felt this way, if you have ever stood in a room full of people and felt completely alone, if you have ever smiled while feeling empty inside, if you have ever counted the minutes until you could leave a social situation, if you have ever felt more yourself in solitude than in company, know this: you are not alone in feeling alone. Thousands of people are performing in crowds right now, feeling exactly what you feel, wondering exactly what you wonder. And the answer is not to try harder to fit in. The answer is to stop fitting in where fitting in requires losing yourself. The answer is to find or create spaces where your authentic self is welcome. The answer is to value being known over being liked. The answer is to trust the message your loneliness is sending and follow it toward genuine connection. If you found yourself nodding along to this, if these words resonated with something you have felt but could not name, leave a comment saying, "I understand." Share this with someone who tries so hard not to feel lonely that they have forgotten how to be themselves. And remember, the loneliness you feel in a crowd is not a flaw in you. It is a signal guiding you toward the kind of connection that actually matters. Follow it.